Our final character for the month of October will be none other than Yumizuka Satsuki. However, unlike a lot of people's analysis of her, I'm not doing an analysis on her root or her lack of root in the mainline games. Instead, I'm doing something that not many people actually end up doing. I'm doing an analysis on her appearances in the Melty Blood series. Seeing how I've mainly been doing that already for a lot of characters as it is, it's about time I get to Sasuke, as well as deal with a lot of other things when it comes to Sasuke. In Melty Blood React, Sasuke Yumizuka was revived in a new timeline, where basically it's the Melty Blood timeline, but now Sasuke never died. Sion was able to learn everything that happened in Misaki Town thanks to Sasuke. We are told that Sion and Sasuke were pen pals the whole time. The whole pen pal thing is a reference to Sasuke's actual pen pal. Sasuke had a pen pal in the original game, however we never knew the name of the person. Here we now technically have a name. It's sort of weird that it was Sion all this time. While it does rather bother me that a lot of Sion built character is made to just be friendly with Sasuke for, well, mostly dumb reasons, I still want to save that for a later point in the video. The two also created the Back Alley Alliance, a group of like-minded vampires that do whatever they can to protect the city. When Yumizuka and White Lin get to talk, White Lin offered Yumizuka to, well, live with her. However, Yumizuka refuses because she wants to live with people. White Lin wants to live without people mainly because they ostracize her so much. The same thing happened to Sasuke, but she's a much stronger person and she wants to stay with people, mostly Shiki, as much as she can. She can't stand this thought of actually losing everyone she usually talks to. However, after you defeat White Lin, you are confronted by Anko, who mentions how incredible Sasuke is to be a vampire and have a reality marvel, despite not being a dead apostle. Don't worry, we're going to get to that later as well. An accident will Sasuke fights Nero, who says he is a dead apostle, which, speaking on her terms of a vampire, let's talk more about her personality and her gameplay. Speaking on Sasuke's gameplay, I really like her portrayal in Melty Blood. She feels rigid but powerful, much like how Sasuke is. Sasuke is a shy person, yet she is rather a powerful vampire. For right now, let me get to that another time once we get to actress again. But a lot of her moves also feel rather powerful, yet you always feel like you want to extend more and more, only to find out that you shouldn't be extending, yet you're kind of gluttonous, so you have a hard time not extending. You know what I mean, right? Which leads a bit more to how Sasuke is personality-wise. She is, for all intents and purposes, the Sasuke we see in the Tsukihime series. She's not that much different, and she doesn't even have that much control compared to the other one. While it is implied that Sasuke does take blood from, well, blood packets, what is also implied is that Sasuke will bite people who she fights. Unlike Sion, who will refuse to drink blood unless it's packet blood because he refuses to drink blood entirely unless it's necessary. Sasuke, on the other hand, will drink blood out of pleasure. She is a gluttonous person. She constantly can't help but crave into her desires and want more. And that's why Shiki has to put it down, because she craves more blood after she just ate another victim. So how much does that change here? Not really much. In fact, she seemed to have not really stopped eating people. I mean, well, she stopped eating people whole, but she has problems actually keeping them alive sometimes. One of her win quotes have her say that if I drink too much blood, I might end up killing the person, showing that she still have a lack of restraint for her bloodlust. While I do think this was an overall good call, I also think there's a lot of problems that comes with it, mainly involving Sion. But yet again, we will get to that when we get to that. As it is right now, I don't want to talk about that yet, because I have a lot to say about Satsuki and actress again. But as of right now, Yumizuka Satsuki does her best to try and protect the town that she loves so much. The one that she keeps dear to her, as well as protect the town that holds Shiki in. But that's more important. We all know that. Actress again, where do I even begin here? This is the game where Yumizuka actually becomes the butt of all jokes in all scenarios as a heroine. This is also the game where we actually find out who bit her, apparently. Up to this point, there was no knowledge of who actually bit her, or how she became a vampire. However, Actress again is actually the one that confirms, kind of, that Satsuki was bit by Michael Roa. Which Michael Roa's description of the moment is also really weird. So to tell you how weird this is, basically imagine this. The reason Roa possibly would bite Satsuki would be he lost faith in Shiki's body, Shiki Tono body, not the main character Shiki Tono. I hate this. But he lost faith in that body actually being a good vessel right away and instantly went to Yumizuka as soon as possible. So he possibly ended up waiting for a whole new body and would have possibly popped up in Yumizuka's body, which is probably one of the most terrifying things. Just imagining Roa with a reality marble and enchanted eyes. Yup, that's pretty scary. Plus, a reality marble depletion garden can deplete all mana in environment, meaning that it probably could counter even a type. However, there's even a weirder quote being, well, Roa's saying that the last thing you probably saw was the back of my head, but what position was he in biting her? That doesn't make sense. If you're biting her, you wouldn't see. If he was biting her from the neck, he wouldn't see the back of her head. She wouldn't see the back of his head. If it was from the front, she would definitely see his head. But in most scenarios, he would see his face. So I don't understand how she doesn't see the back of his head unless for one scenario, which might be what he's referring to. Basically, he killed her, but thanks to her becoming a vampire, she never died. So that's issue number one of things that actress again has callously given Yumizuka. The next thing I want to talk about is how weak Sachin is now. So remember how I mentioned that Nero said that she's a dead apostle, or as strong as a dead apostle? Yeah, now take that out, because apparently she's no longer that. In fact, despite earlier in React and at Cadenza, she can no longer be in sunlight apparently. This gets to the most bizarre point where at one point when Yumizuka is talking to Akui, she refers to herself, and I quote, a weak-ass vampire. That quote is from one of the Melty Blood mangas. However, it is weirdly noted that why is she all of a sudden nerfed? It's not like she hasn't been drinking blood, because we know she has. Same with Sion, who also gets nerfed, but it's not to this extreme. Satsuki is strangely nerfed a high amount. So, what happened? Why is she suddenly weak now? The weirder part is that she was compared to a dead apostle. In fact, sometimes actually was a dead apostle, but according to some people. She just wasn't one of the 27 chairs. However, why is it here that she's no longer considered a dead apostle at all? Finally, we have the bigger issue that I have with Satsuki character. Well, not really Satsuki character, but as a whole, the circumstances behind her and Sion relationship. Sion, who viciously hated vampires because they stole blood, also hated herself because she stole information. She's not akin from hating other people just because they're nice to her. And even worse, Satsuki is still gluttonous. She doesn't show any restraint for her lack of bloodlust. In fact, she usually has to be pulled in by Sion. So it's hard to believe that these two would be friends. Also, Satsuki being Sion's friend kinda takes away a lot of her character from the first original game. A lot of her character being this lonely person that never got to interact with many people because of how her social standing and her conflict really showed how she could understandably not understand that taking taking information from them unwillingly was something really messed up. I feel it's also something to note, but that not many people know. But Satsuki is the leader of the Back Alley Alliance. Also, the Alliance has 4 members now, 3. Rizbeth is the 4th member, while the 3rd member is actually White Lin, who is an unofficial member of the group. It's kinda sad that Sion's role got taken away a lot by Satsuki and now had to just be part of her joke of unfortunate heroine. As of this recording, Satsuki route hasn't actually happened in the Tsukihime remake yet, as well as we haven't actually gotten any hints of her being a vampire in the remake. I think the best element of these two still hold out though, being between Shiki and Satsuki. The best traits of them is how they deal with their lust for blood. Satsuki doesn't try to hide her bloodlust. She rarely ever does. She'd never cover for it or anything, while Shiki always tried to cover for his bloodlust. He always tried to suppress it, as well as try to be a good person, despite not being an actual good person. His mask is somewhat lucid, while Satsuki is a genuinely good person when she wants to be. While I'm personally of the opinion that I would rather have a Noelle route than a Satsuki route, I am happy for the people who are getting the Satsuki route finally. Now, the premise of the Satsuki route is still kinda annoying to me, considering the big giant cannon, the fight between Nero and Roa, and so many more. But I do hope to see Sion and Satsuki route, or maybe to also get a Sion route. Who knows? Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and happy Halloween!